Canadian talk.
Hey guys, brand new episode. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome, podcast fans. What the fuck? We're here. Why are we here? Because that's why. Because we do what we do. Because we're humans. So this is episode 22 of a show called Canadian Talk. It is a cast from which I do out of a pod. And I sit here and I cast like so many others. I cast and I cast. And I hope that you guys see it. Because I'm nobody. But yet, maybe you see me. And hello. This is a podcast where we talk about everything. We talk about the stuff that makes people mad, the stuff that makes people happy. And that's the way she goes. And we put her through a Canadian lens. Because that's the best, isn't it? That's the most accepting lens. The Canadian lens. American lens is fine too, guys. We're all fine. The North American lens. So, today is actually a unique episode. This is just an intro, actually. I talk with a guy named Stephan Jackson on this episode 22. I happen to have stumbled upon him on the great abyss of the internet, which is actually a wormhole, a window into other parallel universes. I found him on Instagram. He's primarily on Instagram under Talk to Jackson. That's his thing. So not only is there an NBA player with the same name as me, but spelt with an E, there is, I guess, already a comedian in Los Angeles with the same name as me, except spelt with an E. And he has like 10 times as many followers as I do. Not that followers matter. The content matters. But he is a wonderful fella. So that's why I brought him on here. He brought himself on, you know. He asked me if he could be on here, and I was like, of course. Like, you got the same name as me, man. I don't know. I was going to ask his middle name, but I was just afraid it would be the same as mine. So, this is the Christmas special, people. Merry Christmas to everybody. It's December 23rd. I'm out here working because I like to work. Oh, wait, is it December 23rd? Yes, it's December 23rd. So, I set up this podcast here with a guy named Stephan Jackson. He's a comedian. He lives in Los Angeles, which is a pretty fancy place. He hasn't been there for too long. He hasn't been a comedian for too long. But he definitely looks like he has what it takes. I mean, I wouldn't do any better than him if I was there, so I don't think. So, he's out there. We're going to work as clones. So I'm going to handle Canada. He's going to handle America. We agreed. And so I have a chat with him. Talk to Jackson is his handle on Instagram, at Talk to Jackson. I don't know if he has a website, maybe talktojackson.com or .ca. I don't know if he has a podcast yet, but I know he's a comedian and I know he's working on it. So that's good. Who am I? I'm just a talking voice on the internet. I'm not anything. I'm a comedian, I'm a scientist, but hardly either of those things, right? I've only been here for a quarter of a century. That's not long enough. That's not long enough, is it? I don't think I know shit, do I? So, it was shot right here in the studio. I did it on video call. I'm sorry about that. I mean, he's obviously in LA, but I like in person a lot better. But it is what it is. And I'm still, I've got the new cameras now. I'm going to work on better camera angles, especially for my guest that I have coming up, who is comedian Matthew Murray. And that should be, I'm shooting for December 29th, but I might be doing it a little bit later than that. Just because it's kind of cold over the next while, and the studio needs a little bit more insulation. So I might wait until spring to do Matthew Murray, but we'll see what he wants to do. We might, if we have a warm day after Christmas, like December 29th, we might do it and throw it up there next Wednesday, so that'll be a week from today. But this one here, I recorded it today, which is Wednesday, December 23rd, and I'm going to hopefully get it put up there today, because there isn't too much editing I'm going to do to this situation, because I have to edit my own shit myself, because I don't know why. I guess because I'm cheap, you know? Aren't we all fucking cheap? Jeez, I'm real cheap though. Like, I'm cheap because I'm poor, but am I poor because I'm cheap? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Life just is what it is, guys. But you just gotta keep fucking giving her. Gotta keep fucking giving her. Ooh. So that was my monkey sound, I guess. I do love podcasting. I love listening to podcasts, but there comes a time in life when you have to start giving back after you've had a sufficient amount of influx from a certain energy source. You feel like you owe it. So that's what's going on here. As I say always, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks to Great Western for making great beer. Too bad you didn't beat Kokanee this week in price, so that's why I've got a Kokanee in my hand. But they're brewed right here in Saskatoon in particular, which is why we love them. And so they help us make our jokes, and they help us entertain the people and be right in everybody's homes to enjoy Christmas with them. And Merry Christmas to you guys. I hope everybody's having a good Christmas. This podcast certainly made my Christmas better. This talk with Stephan was awesome. We at the end we start talking a little bit about life of having that name and how we've each had to, even though he's Stephen, everybody thinks it's Stephan, and even though I'm Stephan, everybody thinks mine is Stephen. So we've each had to live with the opposites of that same problem. He's got about 10 years on me, so he's a little older than me, but he looks very youthful, so he must stay healthy. I didn't ask him too much about his health routine or anything like that, exercise and that kind of jargon, but we will get into that, I'm sure, in future interviews. There's no reason that he won't be on a lot of future interviews coming, just kind of back and forth for comedians talking about current events and stuff, because he's got you'll see that he has an opposite viewpoint from me. Not that I'm a right winger, but I catch him once trying to put me in a box as an anti-masker, but it's like that's what the LA American people, they like to put you in boxes so they feel they can understand you. Everybody likes to put people in boxes, but what was I saying? Yeah, he's if I could, I would say, and I'm not the be all end all of classifying this gentleman. He can be whatever he likes, but he has a lot of left leaning principles, and I know that he was anti Trump from the interview. So that's, you can make certain assumptions from that, whatever. But what it does do is, since I have a lot of points against that, it actually makes for a great interview. We talked for nearly 2 hours, and we didn't even scratch the surface. Didn't even reach the surface. We're still in orbit. So I've already recorded this intro a few times, and then I was like, that's not good enough. So I'm afraid to stop it at 8 minutes, because like there's more I want to say here about this, because this was like this was some sort of a Christmas present to me through a wormhole. This gentleman, I like to think I've made a clone, like a new friend. It's freaking awesome. And he's a comedian too, but he has a regular job, and just like I do. And we talk a little bit about that, and like how I manage properties and used to be an engineer, and how he used to be a teacher, and now he works for companies as clearly probably as their marketing type of wing, maybe a talker type guy. He works for nonprofits, he says. But he has obviously sales abilities because he wants to be a comedian and is doing well at that. So, that's what he does. And other than that, I don't know too much else about him. We talked mostly about current events like coronavirus. So, we'll probably learn more about him personally in the future. But give it a listen. I stay very timid the whole time because I don't want to be. I gotta guide the energy. But we had very opposite views on a lot of things, and I really, in the future, as we become better friends, I can't wait to challenge him more on a lot of these things. Sorry if I look like I don't challenge him enough on a few of the things, but I just wanted to get out and get people's voice on the line, and hear what they have to say, because that's what it's all about. It's all about increasing the amount of info out there, and This is one of the. He's a great guy. I feel like I'm talking about myself. I wish he had a different name so I could talk about that. But this guy, Stephan Jackson, comedian here, he's got some shit to say. He's trying to make it just like a lot of others, right? And being a comedian is trendy right now. So we get into a lot of things, but there's room. There's room. I really think that he should start a podcast if he hasn't already, but that's Talk to Jackson. And we, in fact, are Canadian Talk with Stephan. And that's just easy to find and you can find me at stephanjackson.ca, but I'm sure you know that already. But yeah, welcome here to episode 22. And yeah, I have a guest for this one, and tune in. He offers a perspective of a Los Angeles person on what's going on right now. Even with the riots and stuff that has been going on in those areas, they have a very fear-based belief on the whole virus. He seemed to think that the lockdowns are a good idea, and things like that. He thinks that they can be more nuanced. That was a word that he used a lot. Meaning that the workers that are enforcing this stuff can show a little more humanity and handle things a little bit more micro for each business to business, which we all know. Or how about all, like, yeah. So he's got the right opinions on that and stuff. So that's good. And not that there's right and wrong opinions, but so he's got some good opinions on that. And so yeah, we talk about coronavirus and he tries to label me an anti-masker. I'm not an anti-masker. I just want there to eventually be an end date, because I see it as a new article of clothing. Like I know they've been wearing it in Japan when they get sick and stuff, but that's because they go to work when they're sick or whatever. Like here, when we're sick, we stay home. So, and it's not good for people to wear masks. I think that the face. This is a personal opinion of mine, I guess. So, I think that the face is a part of who you are. You kind of, that's how you connect to people. So I don't think we should be covering up our faces. You can't see people smile, and we all need to see people smile, and that's important. So I had these lists, and I hardly even had to get into them with this fella because he's so interesting to listen to. I did a whole lot of listening and not a lot of talking. I don't have a whole lot more to say, guys. Just, I guess just give it a listen. It's 2 hours. If you get through it, thank you very much. Thanks to everyone who listens to the podcast. Thanks to anyone who has businesses out there that I like to talk about. I hope you guys are all successful, and I hope we all succeed together. Woo! We had our beers today, me and the chap. He brought some local brews from LA there, and but we didn't talk about beer too much. I had my Kokanese, he had his beers. It's important to have a couple. I've been wondering about that, if maybe like online, if I get put under certain like warning categories because there's beer on the show or alcohol, and I guess we talk about drugs as well, so I wonder if that limits us, because I know that like the biggest shows Joe Rogan has weed and alcohol on his, right? So Theo Vaughn doesn't, and he's probably second biggest. I have this list here. I don't even want to get into it. I just want to this is a good 20-minute intro. I want to let the episode be as it was. I was expecting to talk to him for 15 minutes and then do a 1 hour to 2 hour solo episode and just have his thing be a caveat. But it ended up being great. So please enjoy. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you all later. And I'm going to get this edited fast, so it's up there fucking today. Ooh, I'm saying it on the record because I'm going to put it on the record so that I actually do it. And I hope everybody has a lovely Christmas and gets the presents they want, because we all know Christmas is all about presents. Fuck people. It's just presents, baby. Okay, thanks a lot, everybody. Boys and girls. Comedy. Everybody should laugh more. And this is episode 22. Stephan squared. E versus A. Have a good day. I'm recording all this. All right, okay, you're on now. It was just
Hello.
Hello. So, okay. This can I'm gonna edit out the beginning of this. Don't worry. So,
Right on.
I won't make you look stupid. Okay.
You
So,
can make me look stupid. It's all good.
recording. Okay. So here we are for episode 22 of Canadian Talk with Stephan. For some reason, I decided to get into the internet a little too deep, and I found a guy with the exact same name as me, and he lives in LA. He's also a comedian, so I decided to have him on and see what his life is like, because we basically live in different worlds. And since we have the same name, I figured it would just make it easy to meld our lives together. And it's like we can be clones of each other and be in two locations at once and get twice as much done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that particle thing where if like one's moving somewhere, like we're away in a different dimension, like the other one's spinning in the opposite direction.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
I feel
What
feel
was
like
the first message I sent you? I was like, we're in parallel universes, something like that.
yeah. And I just congratulated you on breaking through.
Yeah, I saw the window and I was like, all right, that looks like a wormhole. Who's on the other side? It doesn't help that we also kind of look alike, doesn't it? I'm a little bit wrinklier though because I have to live up in Canada.
Yeah, the gene pool from like the British Isles is pretty shallow, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that actually gets me into my. Hold on, I got like a list and stuff here.
well, first I'm you told me to drink some beers and,
Yes.
and some. It's the morning for me, but so to that effect, you said two, so I brought one. This is like an LA beer, but it's an IPA, so it's not. I can't do it right at the beginning. But this other one is far from local. It's a Pilsner from Belgium, but I like it a lot. So
Oh yeah, I like it. I don't like Pilsner, but I like anything Belgian, that's for sure.
yeah,
I'm just drinking some classic Kokanees today. That's
all right.
left. The girlfriend poured out all my other beers, so
Oh shucks.
yeah.
Well, cheers. Nice to meet you, Stephan.
Yeah, nice to meet you. So yeah, pretty basic, keeping it Kokanee today. Here in Saskatchewan, we actually make like our own brews, though. I mentioned them on every episode. Great Western.
Okay.
That's the beer that we make here.
That's pretty cool. Do they make it any? But Saskatchewan is in the middle of the. I gotta say, you won't believe this. I had to look up where Saskatchewan was.
No, I do believe that. I 100%
Oh.
believe that.
It's in the middle of Canada, though, right?
It's in the middle of nowhere.
Mm.
Last I saw, I mean, it's been on like what's that Adam Sandler movie where they fucking I know there's a lot. The one where they with their parents. Oh my god, I should go.
Mr. Deeds?
No, not Mr. Deeds. It's a newer one, and he's got David Spade in there and all those guys.
And they're all from. And they're all from. And it takes place in Saskatchewan.
Well, they mentioned Saskatchewan in the film. So
Nice. Okay.
This is why I need my producer. He's not here right now. He moved away, but yeah, he would look that up for us.
How? Well, I'm so glad to meet. I wore a hat with the letter A on it
Okay.
because that's the big difference between our names.
Yeah, exactly. So I was actually going to ask you, like, have you ever asked your mom why she spelt it with an E?
Mm. It never came up
No?
because I always wondered why people spell it with an A.
So you figured yours was normal. I agree. I think yours is normal. That's why I was always asking my parents, like, hey, why did you pick an A? It seems like you kind of spelt it wrong.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the interesting thing is that the variations when you start dealing with the E, they go pretty deep because you can have Stephen, but then you have the other people, and maybe we got to find another guy, Stephan Jackson with a V-E-N.
Yep.
And that sounds the same. Stephen.
How do you pronounce yours?
Stephen.
Stephen. Okay, well that's the same as like our prime minister, right? Which is Stephen Harper. He spells it with an E.
So.
Yeah. He's the guy who made me look bad.
That he's, we can't control all these Stephens and Stephans running around, and we can just pray that they're gonna do right by our namesake.
Yeah,
on a
no
daily
doubt.
basis.
No doubt, hey. Can you see my breath on your camera? It's
oh my Lord! So are you in a cabin in the woods in Saskatchewan?
That's what I'm trying to make it look like. That's the shtick that I'm going for, kind of. But it's not a cabin in the woods. But I guess technically to you, my house would be a cabin in the woods. So, but this is actually a structure. We have pretty big lots here in Canada. Like in LA, I know you guys have pretty big houses and stuff, but your lots probably aren't as big as ours, and your zoning is more tight. But yeah, like I'm a civil engineer, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. What's your job, real quick?
Oh, so yeah, I
know you're a comedian, by the way. I didn't do a proper enough intro. I know you are a would-be comedian with a pretty good online presence. I can insert this at the beginning. I'm also going to do just a solo intro where I talk about our interview.
Oh, great. Okay.
But yeah, I wanted to say, yeah, you're a comedian. I saw some of your stuff. You look pretty funny, but fresh to the game, pretty much like me. I haven't. How many times have you been in front of a crowd and stuff?
Oh, so I started doing stand-up like during during the pandemic. So I literally chose to hit the open mic scene in LA at the worst possible time in the history of stand-up. It was like February 2020 I started going out. But then I've done a number of different stuff. There was a period of time in LA where they opened up some like outdoor spaces where they were doing some stand-up, and I've done that. So I don't know, probably like 6 times or something like that, maybe.
So pretty fresh, just like me. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's more than me. So, but yeah. I don't think I really intend to do too much of that. I know that's where the big money is, but
yeah.
You know.
I don't know who told you that.
Yeah. But so yeah, I guess I'll finish what I was saying is yeah, this is just a building that I actually built myself on my lot.
Nice.
It's a garage. Some people would call it a garage, but I'll send you some pictures of it. It's not a garage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I wasn't accusing you of doing a podcast from the garage.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
I don't care. I wouldn't be. I don't get offended by anything. So
okay.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, it's kind of a garage type thing. But yeah, I built it myself. I take a lot of pride in it.
I'm in a small apartment in Santa Monica, California. And there's no real lot. I mean, I have like a little balcony. Yeah. Yeah, so I live in an apartment here. I'm from here originally, and I was a high school teacher for a long time, and then I work now in nonprofits doing like doing content for nonprofits that help other nonprofits, basically. Yeah. And I do a lot of writing on my own, and got some scripts in the hopper and shit like that. But yeah, the stand-up thing is just that's another sort of iron in the fire that I like to kind of keep up.
Cool. So how long ago did you stop being a teacher?
Oh, I lost your voice.
Oh. How long ago did you stop being a teacher? Uh-oh. Did you lose me? Uh-oh.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Okay. My thing shows that it's recording my okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay. Let's Okay, I'm gonna Instagram call you. Man, I don't know what we can do. Shit. Let's what the fuck happened? Okay.
This is new to me. This is new.
What made you decide to get a mustache?
I must have had a premonition that you were going to reach out. Yeah. I shaved out a mustache for the first time, like a fucking 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think that it's funny. Like people always talk about like how okay, so like mustaches exude this thing of like confidence, right? There's like people talk about that, but
totally, just like bright hats.
But yeah, let them know so they can see you're coming. But like but the problem with the mustache is that like it's not so much that you exude confidence with the mustache; it's that you can't be anything but confident if you have a mustache.
Okay.
Because objectively, it's a ridiculous thing to have on your face.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't make any logical sense. So like you can't be like a mopey guy with a mustache.
No, you look too much like the guy who should know and should be running shit. If you have a mustache and you're not running shit, you're homeless.
Yeah, there's something going on. Yeah, I feel like yeah, if you don't, I mean, yeah, you shave a mustache, you have to basically be in charge all the time. It's kind of like when you like, okay, so if you go out on a limb in a Halloween with a Halloween costume, and you're like, do you guys do Halloween in Canada?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, sorry, I forgive my like apps. This is going to be illuminating for me too. I was excited just because I have so many questions about you and your life too. But
me too.
So it's kind of like if you go out on a limb in a Halloween costume and you like do like sexy tennis player. So you got like short shorts on and like a ridiculous hairdo and like, but then you get like too drunk or like you get into like a bad mood and then all of a sudden you have to have that mood in a ridiculous costume.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't really work. And I feel the same way about having a mustache. It makes you have to be running shit on your game all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. So, hey, let's jump into kind of our demographic stuff, like not demographics, geographics, whatever.
Sure.
What's the temperature like in LA right now around Christmas?
All right. Yeah, right now it's about 70 degrees.
Oh my God.
And,
it's minus 30 right now.
I was a little late, wow, because I just went surfing.
Oh.
So I was swimming in the ocean this morning, up until like 15, 20 minutes ago.
Wow, I'm jealous. I was getting a fire ready all morning.
I know, I can hear the crackle. It's like...
I like that part of it.
It's like an ASMR.
Yeah, oh, good. I got half ASMR going. So,
nice.
So you're a school teacher. And sorry, I forgot, when did you say you quit doing that?
I was a school teacher. I quit like 4 years ago, and I've been a journalist and like content writer for like the past 4 years.
Cool.
While I do other fun stuff.
All right. I was an engineer until about 2 years ago, and then I quit to kind of start. I mostly manage real estate, I guess, here in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody really wants to do it because there's a lot of maintenance on the properties.
Yeah.
So you just kind of get the properties and take care of them, and that's pretty much it, you know.
So you're like what do you manage? Like, so because there's like huge tracts of land, you got like a lot of shit to manage. Like it's
taking care of the houses because of winter and stuff. Like there's constant maintenance. You wouldn't believe it. Like you have to clean out gutters constantly. You have to check the temperatures right so things aren't freezing. You have to shovel all the time. Obviously cut the lawn and that kind of basic stuff. Rake the leaves, all that kind of shit.
What does a civil engineer mean?
Yeah. So basically, a civil engineer is civilization. So anything that's in civilization, I basically know how to put together so that people can not be savages. You know.
Oh wow.
Like. Like I used to, when I was a kid, I used to be very curious just about how do toilets work and how does the water actually get away from the house and that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much what I did. And then I got to be like 21 when I finished my degree and I was like, okay, this stuff is boring. All the people I have to work with are horrible and ugly and stupid. And this is definitely not what I want to do for my entire life. And I don't even care that I just shit on everybody I've ever worked with. Because anybody that... What's that? Yeah,
I was most interested by the ugly qualifier of civil engineers. That's like, well, because that's like a blanket statement with it, and
I don't mean engineers are ugly because but we're expected to be the managers basically of the construction industry, and I didn't realize that civil engineer translated to construction manager.
So construction workers are like
usually pretty rough around the edges. They're not
but rugged, good looks, a lot of mustaches.
There you go. A lot of mustaches. Yeah,
but then
to be around
engineers,
you have to, every now and then you run into an alcoholic and or guys. Just there's a lot of rough around the edges guys that to deal with them day to day and to be their manager can be a little bit much.
But then also, it's also probably not any fun just bossing around a bunch of ugly pencil pushers in the engineering community.
Yeah. Well, I always thought it was going to be more design because I originally got into engineering because I'm like a math guy. I like
Yeah.
math for some reason, but and then I found out there wasn't a whole lot of that in it. It was just really a whole lot of construction and job sites but I mean, I guess I should have expected that because of where I live, right? Like
Yeah.
it's weird. That's actually kind of a little bit of a gradient between our two different lives too. Is I grew up thinking that my life was like, well, actually, are you originally from LA?
So yeah, I've been here. I moved to LA when I was like in third grade in 1990. I was born on the East Coast,
Okay.
and I lived in like New York and Idaho for a bit, and then I lived and then I moved to LA in like
Oh, very well
1990.
traveled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I grew up in Canada, so Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, thinking
Okay,
that it was like America, basically.
okay.
But I didn't realize that it's not. We don't live like we don't live in igloos, but
Hmm.
there isn't a whole lot going on up here. There isn't a whole lot of jobs. If you want jobs, you pretty much have to work in infrastructure creation, like I said, like construction sites and so
Wow.
all not very interesting. So I basically did that for as long as I had to make enough money so that I wasn't homeless, and then now
Hmm.
I'm kind of doing other artistic pursuits
Yeah,
like that. Yeah. Um,
totally.
yeah.
I think you think like civil engineer. I mean, your definition of civil engineering, like designing civilization, is a pretty broad one. Do you think that maybe it was just casting too wide a net?
Maybe. I mean that the wide net is probably the only reason I was able to get jobs. That's why
Yeah.
people go into it. Um,
What do Canadians drink in the morning? Coffee,
yeah,
tea,
a
like
lot of people drink coffee. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I mostly just drink beer, but
beer. I was about to say, is it like coffee, tea, or like Labatt?
yeah, yeah. No,
Well,
we definitely like our beer up here. That's for sure.
this is the first.
I'm
This is
not a
the
coffee guy.
longest conversation I've ever had with a Canadian, and
Yeah.
it's
This is the longest conversation I've probably ever had with somebody from well, you're not from LA, but I've talked with a lot of Americans, but
yeah.
you've lived in LA for a while, so
For a long time. I lived in California in general. I lived in San Francisco for a long time, but it is an interesting data point that the longest conversation I've ever had with a Canadian
yeah.
required me to start drinking at 10 a.m. Pacific.
Good. Well, that's
That
what
was
I
a
want.
very
Yeah.
explicit, specific request
Yeah.
on your end. So,
Totally.
in the name of art
Yes.
and
We must-
vacation,
Yeah, that's one of our tenets here on this podcast is we enable drinking.
hey,
So-
fuck yeah, man.
Yeah. So
Um,
that's kind of your take on Canadians. The people in LA, are they a bunch of like softies?
I don't know, like softies, like, I think that, I think LA is such a crazy place, man. It's there. I looked it up the other day. There's, in my county, which is like the greater Los Angeles area, 10 million people live here.
That's 10 times my entire province. My province has 1 million people.
Yeah, and this is just the city. So like, and when you do things in LA, you're literally part of a contiguous geographic space that is filled 10 million people.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy. There's an interesting thing that's happened too with it. Like I lived in LA and I lived in San Francisco and I spent most of my adult life after college in San Francisco. And what was really interesting in being from LA in San Francisco, there's this real interesting like Hatfield McCoy thing that happens from San Francisco and LA. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
and,
How old are you, by the way? I forgot to ask you that.
I am 37.
37. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. How old are you?
You got a decade on me.
I got a decade.
Yeah.
A tenor.
Yeah.
Well,
doesn't look it though, right?
hey man,
You're
you
looking
got
good.
that
Looking good.
coastal living.
But
Thanks.
yeah, I was gonna say most of people from LA. Oh, two questions. So, like all my favorite kind of major comedians from LA. I'm sure you'll know who they all are. A lot of them say that everybody from LA is pussies. So you don't agree with that?
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, you take me, a typical guy with a mustache. I'm tough as fucking nails, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, there you go.
We're bred.
And the load with the local, like people who've lived there their whole life.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that we're like we're not like podcasts in a garage in Saskatchewan tough,
Yeah.
but we're pretty fucking tough, man.
Okay.
Like, for example, I didn't even ask to have my artisan bread and charred eggplant dip for breakfast on this podcast. I just fucking walked right in,
Yeah.
cracked the beer,
Yeah.
and started fucking eating.
Yeah.
And that's
a tough guy move.
how we do it down here.
Yeah.
That's how we do.
Yeah. What was the next thing I was gonna ask? Is oh fuck, it totally fell out of my head. What's your favorite comedy club down there?
The Comedy Store, obviously, it's
Nice.
fantastic. I mean,
How often do you go there?
well, before, I would go there a fair amount before the shutdown happened. And then I used to love going to comedy shows up in San Francisco at, like, the Punchline.
Nice.
Specifically, it's, like, the coolest venue in California. It's, like, just amazing. People have come out of there, and, like, it's just such a wonderful space and a wonderful room. And then there's also Cobb's in San Francisco, too. But lately it's been crazy, man. There's fucking nothing to do. So we.
Do you like to talk politics much?
What's that?
Do you like to talk politics much?
Sure.
What do you think about the? What do you think about that? Does it make you mad, or does it make you? Is it happening how it should be to keep people safe, or are you mad about what's going on?
Oh, I think that I am. I think it's the right stuff. I think we're all taking the right measures in general, right? Like, I think that the idea of social distancing, outside, wearing masks, keeping within your pods, being smart in public is like really, really important.
Yep.
I also think it's really important that we are modifying our lives, and I think it's ridiculous when people complain about these measures that we have to take to save people's lives. I think it's a very selfish and immature way to go about it.
Yeah.
I think that there's a certain amount of, we're using too blunt of an instrument to go about it in certain cases. Like, I think that there are ways that, like, restaurants and other small businesses, and specifically small businesses, could be operating in ways that allow them to serve customers and everything, and just in more common sense ways. I don't think that, like, always a blanket shutdown for whole sectors is necessarily the way to go, because there's a lot of suffering, like on small business side too.
Yeah, pretty much the main thing that I'm opposed to is the blanket shutdowns.
Yeah, I think that the thing is that I don't think that the American psyche is all that great at nuance, I think the blanket shutdowns are also a product of the way that the American public acts too, unless there are these really black and white contrasting types of laws. So, like, if you were to say, people, hey, use your judgment, this can happen, but you have to be mindful here, and it might change, and all of that stuff, I don't think that we haven't proven the ability to react to that in a mature way that much. So, unfortunately, while I don't agree with them, I do also see where people are coming from when they have these, like, blanket shutdowns too. I don't know. I think it's a pretty complex issue. Like
what makes it complex?
Okay, so I think what makes it complex is, let me think. So, to me, it seems a bit crazy that you can go into a Best Buy. Do they have those up there, like big box electronics stores? Target or a Best Buy.
Definitely.
And you have to wear your mask, but you're in there. You're in a big space, and you're interacting, you're doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, you couldn't, like, go grab a sandwich and, like, sit outside with, like, another person, outdoors in, like, a limited capacity place.
Yeah, that's done.
Like, that seems to be, like, there seems to be like a lot of contradictions, and like there's
Definitely a discontinuity in the logic, for sure.
yeah. So
So,
that's
like,
hard to
'cause,
grasp,
like,
but at the same, honestly, like at the same time, it's where I'm at. It's terrifying, like
but there's a vaccine now.
yeah. That's not gonna. I mean, that's not gonna affect our. That's not gonna. We're not gonna be going back to normal as a result of that vaccine for so
Okay.
long. And
Do you think that people should wear masks for forever?
forever, no, I don't think
No.
so. Not forever.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think like once it's really calmed down. There is a vaccine, but I think that it's really hard. I think, like I have this thing where it's like, when it's raining outside, I truly have a difficult time when picturing what it looks like when it's sunny, because it's like, yeah, it's your whole world, right? Like,
Okay.
and I think that that metaphor holds true for people like in the midst of where we're at now. Like, it's really hard to imagine that there will be like, we're never going to go back to exactly the way we were before, because we're all changed as a civilization. But I do think that like in a year, maybe around this time next year, it's going to be like, it will feel the way it somewhat used to be. But until there's a widespread vaccine, like mass in public, hell yeah. I mean, like we got so fucked over by this dickhead president that like who decided to politicize a public health issue, and as a result, there's even this question, and there's a mass debate, and there's all this crazy shit, and it's like it's conflating these very two different issues between identity politics and like public health, and I think that's like a real
for sure.
problem.
So what makes you think? Sorry, I got kind of specific questions as you
Oh,
go.
come on,
Yeah,
bring
'cause
them
you're
on.
saying a lot of stuff, of course, that I've thought through as well. I'm glad you've thought through this stuff so well. But so what makes you think that it was Trump that politicized the topic and not his adversaries?
Well, so Trump is exactly what he does, is that he finds really visual, literal, symbolic sticking points
Okay.
that he's able to then politicize and turn up levers on like a very enraged base. And
Sorry, say that again. Can you say that again?
yeah, sure. So like what he does is Trump really likes to find these like visible, symbolic, very literal sticking points or symbols or items or objects or belief systems that he can basically turn into this very divisive. Otherwise, a potentially nuanced conversation is suddenly a very divisive either-or thing with him. So,
Well, he sees everything from a place of competition, right?
well, competition,
And did you say
adversarial.
something about Aryan race?
What's that?
I thought I heard you say something about. Did I hear you say the word Aryan?
God, no.
Oh, God, I was like, okay, that was my mind. I was like, did he
Well, I think
start to
that
talk about that crazy racial stuff?
He definitely is. I don't doubt that him using again race. I mean, he's
Yeah, that
used
Proud
every
Boys thing
single
was weird,
possible
hey?
point of division to like expand this like widening rift in American society. Right? That was
Has
already
any president ever mentioned like that when he said that thing about the Proud Boys
there.
in
It's
front
ridiculous.
of like during a main presidential debate? I couldn't believe that. That was pretty
It's
divisive.
he's the worst president in American history. He's one of the worst people I've ever even fathomed could exist. But the point being about the mask and Trump, and I heard this isn't my idea. This was some political scientist or sociologist who I heard on the radio like months ago. It's like the thing about a mask is that it is the ultimate identity symbol. It is a piece of cloth on your face, right? That
But
somebody
I
is
can see the
asking you.
negatives of that. Like, I'm actually kind of, I agree with you, but I think that there's going to be a lot of negatives from that, like segregation almost.
In what regard?
That it's kind of like a flag that you wear on your face to show it's the first time where we've had, hey, you can show your political leaning just right on your face.
And that's the problem, is that
That is the problem.
it never should have gotten to that.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
became a public health issue, became a political issue, and it never should have been like that. Brushing your teeth isn't something that Democrats do that Republicans don't,
Okay,
right?
and I'll try to make one point as devil's advocate here. So I'll make one point as to why Trump maybe wouldn't be the culprit of who politicized the situation. So Trump didn't want to close things down. So
Okay.
let's say because I talked to this guy who was an old guy. He's a doctor, and he was a doctor during the polio epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
And the polio epidemic killed like kids mostly.
Was the doctor like 130 years old?
No, well, he was. I talked to his son. Sorry, so his dad was in the polio epidemic, and then he was also a doctor, and he was telling me about what his dad said. So,
okay.
Oh, hold on. Did we just? Oh, I just had a window pop up. No, we're all good. So he was telling me. Oh my goodness, he was telling me about what his dad had said about the polio. Like, we didn't have a shutdown during the polio epidemic, and it killed as many kids as this disease is killing, 80-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are saying. So my only point. So I'm trying to make a point as to why Trump isn't. He's not. He didn't. There's a main problem that has happened is the lockdown, and we look to other situations where we've ever had to do that, and it's never happened. Not even in polio. So that's the only point I have to make as to where Trump was going in the right direction, kind of like what the historical experts would have done, whereas the other side was kind of being more of a fear situation. But I know that's not a conclusive point, but what can you say about that? Like, why wouldn't they have shut it down during polio and now all of a sudden shut it down now?
Oh, God. I mean, when was polio? Like the 20s, 30s? When was the...
I can look that up, yeah. I think it's 30s, 40s, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, this is just off the cuff. So, first of all, if you went back... all right. Yeah, I'm just kind of riffing here. But, okay, if you went back to the Spanish flu, what's interesting is that when the Spanish flu happened, many of the same public health guidelines back then held true today. Wearing masks, limiting gatherings, the whole lot, right? You look back at pictures of people during the Spanish flu epidemic back in 1918. People are wearing masks in public, and they were asked to wash their hands frequently. They were asked to avoid gathering in groups.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Same thing if you look into like what the state of this world or the country was in like polio epidemic and stuff. I mean, our lives, I feel like now are just all the more connected and complicated. And there's like there's so many different underlying societal and public health issues that are at play here. And like if I feel like it just feels like it's hard to. It doesn't really seem like an argument that holds a whole ton of water to compare the coronavirus epidemic in 2020 to an epidemic that happened in the 30s, right? Like I just think like
we have double the population.
Yeah, there's more people. It's just everything is sort of different about that. And again, the fact that Trump is just the biggest fucking idiot in the world because he was okay.
Yeah.
He was able. The easiest possible fucking win for any politician, Republican, Democrat, anything, is to see this adversary that's not a foreign country, that's not a war, it's not any of this shit. It's a fucking disease. It's like apparently it seems as though it's like a sentient disease, but it's a disease, right? So the one thing that he could have done, and he would have won. He would have fucking won again. Thank God, in a way, he fucked this up so bad. But if he had just been like, there's a common enemy, we're banding together as a country to fight this thing, together we can do this, right?
Yes.
It's the easiest way to boost popularity broadly. This guy's still only fucking, Biden only squeaked out a fucking win, which is terrifying, after all the crazy shit Trump has done and said. But this guy just barely lost. So that, and a lot of that was because he fucked everything up with this pandemic, right?
Yeah.
It would have been the easiest possible thing to approach this as this issue that we can fucking put all our resources to and be together in a unified front against it, right?
Yeah.
And he did.
It seems like that's kind of a guy like him. That's kind of not really the way his brain works. You know?
He did everything
like,
except that.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. He did everything except that.
Yeah,
And
he was so focused on, hey, my economy is booming, my economy's growing, and then he saw, as he is, like he's a right wing guy, he's a competition type thinker. So when he saw coronavirus, he saw that it started to lower the economy. Of course, he did the only tactic that he sees. He created. He made it.
He denied the shit. He denied it because he didn't want it. I mean, it's just like he fucking. What if he didn't deny it? What if he just started doing shit right off the bat instead? I mean, the way the disease spread, it spreads exponentially. So going unchecked for even as long as it did, had there been a response when they first fucking learned about that shit in January, it would have had a lot less time to fucking explode silently. Yeah. And then like the way that like it all spreads and shit, and it's like once it gets to a critical mass, it just keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah. Well, so I guess in hindsight, can we say, so I guess we can kind of say hindsight now because there's a vaccine, sort of.
Oh, no. We're so far from hindsight. We're in the middle of the shit. We're about to be actually going in America, we're about to hit the worst times yet.
Really? You think it's getting worse?
Yeah, it's only getting worse, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. It's foolish to think that any of that is going to...
We are on opposite ends of the spectrum on this topic, my man.
No. I think it's getting better, but before it gets better, it's going to get way fucking worse. I mean, 1 in 64 people in Los Angeles County have COVID-19.
Okay,
right now.
But why does that matter?
What do you mean?
But because it doesn't kill very many people.
I mean, it does. I mean, so it's surpassed heart disease in America as the #1 leading cause of death this year.
Oh shit! Heart disease?
Look it up. And it. So you have to think, and it's not just what kills; it's the underlying conditions and the long haulers and all this sort of shit. It's like, it's I know.
All I say at this point, man, is I just hope it's not as bad as you're saying it is. Well, I'll tell you, you convinced me of some things I think there. Well, I'm definitely on the opposite end of the spectrum from you on this, in that I think that okay, so I'm not anti-climate change or anything like that, right? I'm a center person. I'm not right wing. I'm not like, oh, climate change doesn't exist because the Earth has a cyclical temperature cycle.
Yeah.
And I can see that that's sort of the argument I'm taking here, but my argument in this area is a lot more like this is just people are living longer than they ever have.
Mm-hmm.
Seniors are smoking marijuana more than they ever have. I simply think that this is another cyclical. Once every 10 years, we have one of these kind of severe viruses. And I think that just because of societal changes, seniors' respiratory systems not being as healthy as they were before, that's my hopeful explanation of what's causing more seniors to die now.
Yeah.
But also, I don't really know. But I am glad to see that coronavirus doesn't kill young people very often, which makes me happy.
Yeah, I mean...
And I try to focus on what makes me happy and not what is the fear parts of it. Because the world has to go on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that there's a difference between ignoring... I think that it's important to face reality based on science and based on statistics and all of that stuff, and to not be afraid of that, but then to modify and adapt to what scientific and objective realities are, right? And I think that as a result, again, of the fact that this has become such a more than a public health issue, it's an identity issue, it's a political issue, that it kind of obscures people's ability to really see things for the way they are, right? Because the mission, even in yourself, you're saying, you're describing this in terms of an emotional response, and it's that's at the root of a lot of these problems, I think. Now, the thing I want to rewind on is the senior smoking marijuana thing. Now, are you saying that are you pro or anti-cannabis?
Pro.
But you think that somehow, but so to tell me more about what your comment about how more seniors are smoking marijuana and therefore what?
I'm just I'm being specific about what societal factors I think are specifically causing this year's virus to be, whatever people are saying. Maybe it's like 5 to 15% more severe than, let's say, if you were to look at the stats from 4 years ago. How many people died from cold and flu and things, viruses, the various strains of those things? We're up about 20 to 25% because of coronavirus. And that, in turn, is, quite a few deaths in the high hundreds of thousands, right? I forgot what I was talking about.
Well, I think I'm just like, I've yet to hear
I was explaining. You asked me to talk about seniors in the connection.
Well, yeah, no, I've yet to hear the argument of grandma smokes weed now, so more old people die. That was like a huge jump.
That is my argument, yeah. Old people are smoking weed more because do you agree that the taboo has kind of went away with seniors and weed?
Yeah, of course, but the amount that you have to smoke with cannabis without chemicals and shit in it for it to cause like respiratory distress and all that shit is quite a lot. Like you have to be
when you're young.
Send me the link. I'd love to hear this.
Okay, well, you know what? Actually, I think we should maybe I think it's time to change topic from the coronavirus and stuff.
Coronaviruses.
Yeah. What I love is, we didn't get confrontational about it. A lot of people do, and that's one of my biggest fears with the whole thing is the confrontation flag you have to wear on your face and all that kind of stuff.
Again, I'm a very liberal guy. I'm definitely on the left. I mean, politically, like I wouldn't say that I'm middle of the road, but I also have a lot of respect for other ideas and like I want to have conversations. I think that there's this, again, we can't fall prey to the same device, right? It's like if people are like, this whole thing with like Trump and everybody's like, if you aren't this, then you're that, and then everybody else on the other side, and it's like, if you aren't that, then you're this, and like everybody fucking doesn't talk anymore and shit. It's
that's a huge problem. Huge problem.
Now, there are some caveats to that too, but I mean, I thought we were getting on to drink beer and talk about our names and shit.
Hey, we are.
I had no idea we were. I'm down, man, but
yeah. So I did want to move on. So have you heard? Actually, I guess this is connected to coronavirus too. But have you heard what Tom Cruise did?
Oh, where he chewed everyone out on set. You hear the tape?
Yeah.
Yeah, what a dick.
Holy. I mean, see, so you should love him though.
Yeah, sure. I get it. I mean, but again, like, if I'll tell you one thing for sure. I'm definitely not going to let my identity be determined by me calling or not calling Tom Cruise a dickhead for yelling at a bunch of people. He's in the right, to a certain extent. People got to be following the things. It's happened to me in a fish market the other day. I was buying fish, and I was just like kind of not paying attention, and I got too close, and somebody was like, "Hey, you got to move away," And I was like, "Thank you." And then when I talked to him again, I was like, "Thank you." Right? He was kind of a dick about it too, but I was like, "Thanks, man."
Those people make me mad.
But you got to keep the business open, and it's not their fault. So if people aren't following these regulations, then they're going to get a fine, and then they get fucked up, and like so. I mean, it's like whatever. You don't have to take everything so fucking personally. I don't think. In general, I think that's like a big. That's
totally. We're going to see a huge spike in the dermatology industry because people are going to start having like a bunch of problems with their face from the masks or something like that.
So, all right. So wait, are you? So you're like anti-mask. Is that what I'm getting at? Is that what I'm getting?
Mr. LA. So what we don't do here is we don't actually put people in boxes like that. But I'll tell you this. What I will tell you is this: we talked about it a lot. I'm not anti-mask, but I do feel there needs to be an end date because like not an end date, but just a time. Because I don't want to be like, let's say like Japan, where when you're sick you stay home. You don't need a mask. When you're sick you stay home. We don't live in as close of quarters as they do, really, so we don't need to wear masks around. And I just don't like it because I feel it perpetuates this thing where it's even more challenges for poor people. It makes the hierarchy even more steep for poor people. it's one more little thing that they have to buy so that rich people don't think they're dirty or that they're gross.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you can't come near me.
That's
It's just more potential.
That seems like that's a big. I mean, that's like a really big jump. I mean, I think that like the class warfare mass conflation is. I think it's it sounds a bit off base to me, but I mean, I also think I don't know when anybody told. So you said you want there to be an end date, but then logically, when did somebody tell you that there wouldn't be an end date? Like, what is that? What premise are you basing that assumption on?
I'm not basing it on anything, but I guess I'm basing it as purely a devil's advocate point to. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that want the masks to be around kind of always now.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, though, it's kind of like it's like barking up the wrong tree. There's like, I don't think that there's any need to like dig in on like the mask forever issue, because I haven't really heard anybody say that we're wearing masks forever. I don't know where that premise, I don't get where that's coming from.
Well, I mean, I guess, so you think once, but they're already saying that there's a new mutation of the thing.
Uh-huh.
So, like, when do you think that the fear would stop, I guess? Like, I've actually been thinking about this too, kind of, what type of tactics could politicians use to combat, or like, hey, we want to go back to normal. I mean, you could say, oh, there's an increase in theft or something because people are wearing the masks or something like that, but I don't know how it's ever going to get reversed. Where I don't actually know where you're basing it on, how you think that people won't want to wear them forever now.
Well, I mean, I think it's like right now there's specific public health regulations because wearing masks do in fact save lives, and they stop the spread of coronavirus and allow you to go out in public and not be, quote, locked down. Yes. So if you wear a mask...
So what if you had somebody come up to you, this is stupid again, so right, I'm just playing the comedian, this is for communication purposes.
Go ahead.
Devil's advocate purposes. So, like, somebody will be like to you, you'll run into Dr. Phil, and he'll be like, oh, more people die from, skin cancer. They'll say, you go outside and you put yourself in danger, right, because you're going in the sun. You put yourself in danger because you're hopping in your car to drive somewhere. A lot of people, the argument against what you're saying is that people will say there's implicit dangers in everything. Mm-hmm. And, like, life is dangerous, and essentially where the big dissonance is here is people don't understand microbiology and they don't understand math.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what you have to do to understand what's going on in Corona is kind of connect the dots between the two, mm-hmm. which is that, like, a lot of people don't, like, because again, I'm not taking a counterpoint to you, because I am kind of I'm expressing that it's not as dangerous as a lot of things that people do. But I'm not saying...
But those are all that's a logical fallacy. It's like, sure, like, if more people die from skydiving, or if skydiving is more dangerous than coronavirus, why are we not banning skydiving? Like, all of that's bullshit. It's like, these are all just like flimsy logical fallacies that, like, for some reason continue to be brought up in the face of, like, hard science and, like, some in many cases very reasonable requests of, like, a general public to protect themselves and others, especially the people who...
Can I stop you? I just want to ask you a question right there. Sorry.
Yeah.
When you say, because I heard you said hard science, and then you said the public regulations. Public regulations are good. When you say hard science, I assume that you mean, let's say, the science on the results of what happens when you get the disease. Mm-hmm. But what would you say about people who go, oh, but the hard science actually shows that, it doesn't kill many people?
Yeah, so here's the thing, is that, like, the disease statistically affects different people very differently. So, like, the fact that, like, I could probably get it and be either asymptomatic or just, like, go through the symptoms that are very much like the flu and pass through it and be okay and maybe not have any of these lingering after effects that they're starting to see in other people long term. Okay, but the problem is that if I am not taking, like, proper regulations when I'm proper precautions, like, per regulations when I'm out in public, if I get that disease, and then I pass it on to somebody who isn't as healthy as I am, says the guy who's drinking an IPA at 10:30 in the morning, but like who isn't as healthy as I am, and like their experience with this exact same virus could be very, very different than me.
Yes,
and
but so
like,
don't you think that we should tell them to stay home? Maybe I know that sounds.
We're all in this. This is the other thing. We're all in this whole fucking thing together.
Yeah.
Everybody. We're all in it together.
Yeah.
We're a fucking same team. Again, it's not about politics. It's not about your identity. It's not about your like belief system on whether or not something's oppressive or going to be long term. Yep. It's a virus. It's something that like as humanity we need to start thinking about one another a bit more, and not only have that mindset like you just said about why shouldn't the person who's more at risk stay home? Why should my liberties be impinged upon because of him? Yeah. Right? Because he's sick and I'm healthy. Fuck that. It doesn't make any sense. We're all fucking people.
But what about the old people who are like, they're basically retired essentially?
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I think that's a fine line to draw. We don't need to like.
Well, I mean, for example, here's a controversial opinion. I think we should round up all the old people and kill them and eat them. And like, a lot of people are saying like, oh wow, that's really crazy, and like here you are with identity politics again. But to me, they've lived their great lives. They're at home. They're not adding to the economy. They're gonna fucking die.
I assume you're being facetious, right?
Oh no, dead serious. Let's find everybody over the age of 75, round them up, kill them, and
That's
eat.
what I thought when I was 17.
Yeah, hey, I mean, it's basic science, man.
It's basic. It's hard science.
It's not, so yeah.
You just have to be Nazis and eugenicists, right?
Oh, no, I'm not touching that one. I mean, it's more about the idea that, and of course I'm fucking around. Because it's like those types of ideas are people who are like, oh, man, it's this basic thing that what has been laid bare is that we have a very hard time in America, at least, seeing beyond ourselves and seeing among the personal rights that we feel are owed to us as individuals, and thinking about a collective society and thinking about how we can all be doing little things to help people and it's bigger than us. It's bigger than you. Like you do shit to help people that you may never even meet. Right? And so, again, do I think that the lockdowns could be more nuanced and they could be more flexible? Yes, of course. That's not like necessarily what we need to get into now. Do I at least understand where people are coming from? Yes. Like, am I going to go ahead and take the most precautions I can?
It upsets you when you see kids getting pulled off of hockey rinks because they can't play hockey.
I've never seen a child be pulled off a hockey rink.
Yeah, I saw a video the other day on the internet of these kids that were playing hockey on a hockey rink, and there was these cops came up and they were tackling the kids off the ice and stuff like that. And
yeah,
I would say that's a little bit of a improperly enforced area of the rules. Like,
sure, but again, that's like pointing to this one thing and then making.
I'm not trying to do that either.
You point to one. This is the problem. That one stupid fucking thing happens. Yeah. You'll point to it and say, "See, this is why it's all wrong." It's all fucking subterfuge. It all comes down to this thing where people are so tired of being asked to do something for someone they've never met.
Yeah.
And so there's an empathy problem. Yeah. There's an identity problem. Politics problem.
Our problem on our side is like on the other side. I think from you would be their problem would be is they'd go, but you're not considering how fragile the system is. They would go, you're actually they would actually say that because you're saying you're calling the right selfish, right? The right would go, they think that you're selfish. They think that you guys are like, oh, protect me.
No, I'm not calling. Again,
sorry, just one last thing. Just because to the right wing people, they think they value the institutions over the individual. So they think that, we all have to look out for the full system and make sure that everything keeps functioning as opposed to protecting old people. So like that would be, I think, what a counterpoint would be maybe.
There's just so many I got to say, there are so many things wrong with that argument, right? On many different levels. So, like, first of all, I'm not saying the right's selfish. I'm saying people who
They are, though. See, that's the thing. Is actually
I'm not saying, no, but I'm not. But I'm not saying that, and nor did I.
Okay.
Not only that, though, I see that people. I would say anybody who's a Democrat or on the far left, or anybody who isn't decided, or who's like whatever a libertarian mindset is, like those people. Anybody who's not doing these basic things, I would say, yeah, that's being pretty selfish. First of all. Second of all, the idea that the right is more about institutions than the individual, also not true, because on the left, it's...
I have that backwards, but I mean it in a different way.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just say one thing so I don't sound stupid, because I said a few wrong things there.
Yeah.
The way I like to describe the right and the left is they're each trying to accomplish stopping the things that the general public doesn't want, but they go about it in two different ways. The right tries to accomplish problems with economics, and the left tries to accomplish problems with morality. And that's essentially my position.
I don't know. Yeah, these are just like such huge, unbelievably broad strokes for these like unbelievably
That's
nuanced.
why I like podcasts, because we can make broad strokes and then nobody's here to break it
Yeah,
down.
I mean, I was just waiting for you to walk back your Nazi eugenics comment, but
Well,
I guess you wanted to let that just kind of go, or
Well, yeah, I was going to say,
clarify there. Or?
yeah, I brought that up because we were talking about, you were talking about mass culling of the population or something like that, and I thought, and that's eugenics, isn't it?
Oh, my thing about eating old people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just naming it for you.
Oh no, oh yeah, right on. No, I mean,
hey, I was gonna right on to the next thing. As I was gonna ask
to be
you.
clear though, the eating old people thing, that's economics. That's just fucking.
Well, I just found my clip. I'm definitely gonna clip
the
that out.
invisible hand of capitalism. That is economics.
Okay, so now we know, we've established with the Stephan Jacksons that eating old people is economics.
Well, no, Stephen.
Yeah,
He's
sorry,
ready for his special pot pie.
Yeah. Okay, so who's your favorite comedian?
Oh man.
Or give me some lists and talk to me kind of about why.
I mean, like the most basic thing that one could say. I mean, it's kind of I think for me, John Mulaney is my favorite comedian.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and I just saw that he checked into rehab, which is very interesting.
What?
I hope that he gets the help he needs.
I would have never seen that coming.
I think he guess he struggled with addiction at an early age, and he went sober at 23. And I just love his comedy. I think he is a genius in one of
his drug was that.
What he used, I guess he used to drink and do blow a lot and stuff like that. But I don't know enough because again, like that's his shit, and like this is just like do you do the thing where you constantly like Wikipedia people and shit like that? Like you just learn like where they went to high school and like all that stuff. And so like I do that constantly.
It's important for understanding people, I think. I think
yeah. It's all the information. There's just so much information out there. But anyways, yeah, John.
I saw a thing. Sorry, a little tangent. I saw a thing the other day on Wikipedia about the guy who has done. He's famous for doing the most Wikipedia edits ever. They essentially call him the author of Wikipedia.
Wow.
He's written 3 million of the pages on Wikipedia.
Jesus, is the guy
just a white guy from Britain, and he didn't get paid a cent to do any of it.
Hey man, for the greater good. Hey, I gotta plug in my computer. I'll be right back. Let me get my thing.
Sure.
Wait 1 second. I'm coming.
I'm just gonna take a bathroom break.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. We're getting a lot of insight today into the different political views on either side. You can see that LA is a lot more left-leaning, and here in Saskatchewan we're a lot more conservative.
Yeah, I think we're getting some fun stuff. This is great.
For sure. Yeah, sorry.
That's
Yeah,
all.
it's not all about coronavirus and politics.
Yeah, it's fine. It's all good.
All right. Yep.
So,
So, yes. So,
okay.
So, do you think the taxes are too high in LA?
No,
No?
I don't know. I fucking
Who cares? Fuck
who
taxes.
cares?
Just
Who cares
keep
about
your money in a
politics,
haven.
taxes and shit like
Oh
that.
yeah, who's your favorite comedian?
My favorite comedian is John Mulaney. My favorite food is a Chinese chicken salad. My
What other
favorite.
comedian do you like?
What? What's that?
What other comedians do you like?
Oh shit. Let me think. I really like David Cross.
Ooh.
I really like. It's so funny. I just.
Let me name some people that you probably hate.
Go ahead.
Theo Vaughn.
I don't know him.
Oh, okay.
I you may be exposing me as a bad comedian who doesn't know
Well,
enough.
you know you've only been really into it for like a year or two, so. What about Tom Segura?
Oh, he's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
What about Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan, he's such an interesting dude. I mean, I think he's kind of like a bro. Like, I don't really follow a lot of his arguments that much. I think he's like
I can
all
tell.
over the place. But I mean, in terms of like, he's like he's a really good comedian. His jokes are on point. His
Yep.
podcast is good. I mean,
Yep.
like, he's like a master of the craft. I wouldn't say that I'm like, I like love Joe Rogan, but I also respect him a lot. You know what I mean?
Do you eat meat?
I do.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah. You?
Yeah, I do.
You mostly like elk and moose and stuff like that up there?
Mostly beef. Mostly beef. I actually probably more pork because I'm poor, but
Yeah.
yeah, I like pork.
Do you have? I mean, this is a serious question, not like a candidate joke. Do you have pigs and livestock on your property and such?
No, I don't. Some people have chickens, but not me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's like the okay? I know in Montreal there's like poutine. That's like a big thing. The gravy and fries and shit like that.
Yes.
What's like in America? It's like
We don't
they
like
say,
to poop for several days at a time, so we try to
know,
take in as much
I-
cheese as possible.
it's a lot. But in America, people are like, oh, Americans, cheeseburgers, right? Like, it's like, oh, dude, American in the cheeseburger.
Yeah.
What's the, like, Canadian... So, cheeseburger is to America as what is to Canada?
Poutine, probably. That's probably the
Poutine?
standard answer, I would say.
Country, nationwide?
Nationwide. A lot of
How-
times people in the West would say no, like they say that a poutine is the East Coast thing in Canada, but it's Canada-wide. Everybody loves a poutine.
You speak... Okay, I mean, I can do this all day. Do you speak French?
I do a little bit, and I also speak Spanish, yeah, a little bit.
Does everybody speak a little bit of French in Canada?
No. They try to teach us to, but we all know that it's a stupid language, so...
Is there...
English is going to take over eventually.
Is there like a Canadian nationalism where you're like, fuck the French kind of thing?
No, well, some people are. Like, if you go to Alberta, yes, but that's the only province that acts like Texas.
Is Alberta, so Texas is to America as Alberta is to Canada?
Yes. In my
Are
opinion.
things just bigger in Alberta?
Yep.
Yeah. And-
I actually have a tenant right now, because so I've got all these properties, right? So I have a bunch of tenants and stuff, and I have this one guy who's a lot of times because I own properties around our universities. And,
You own property?
What's that?
You own property?
Yeah, lots. I remember I was telling you about it. That's
I
how
didn't know
bought
you
the
were like
studio.
a fucking Canadian land baron. This is
Dude,
crazy.
you make some money as an engineer. I decided to retire, remember?
You're retired?
Yeah.
And you just own land and have like a little fiefdom and shit up in Saskatchewan?
You betcha. You should move up here, man. It's cheap as shit.
I thought you'd never fucking ask.
You can live in one of my structures for free.
What? Oh man, I gotta tell my wife we're going to
Oh,
Saskatchewan.
she wouldn't be happy though. She wouldn't want to live up here once she sees the weather.
We
I'm not
did,
kidding.
we did. My wife lived on Vancouver Island for like 6 years of her life.
That's not the same. That's not the same as inland. No.
Do you guys have? I saw the 686 hoodie. You guys snowboard and ski and shit up there?
Oh hell yeah, man. Yeah.
That's cool.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite brand.
Yeah, for sure. Now,
No, but yeah, it's freezing inland here. Like I wasn't kidding. You said it's 70 Fahrenheit where you are. I don't even know what it would. I think once you get below 0, the Fahrenheit and the Celsius kind of cross over. But
you guys not do Fahrenheit in Canada?
we don't. But
You're
I
Celsius?
I know how to use it. What's that?
You're Celsius in Canada? Like if someone says what's the temperature outside, you're gonna tell the person in Celsius.
Yes.
God.
Yep.
You know? Oh, I've been to Canada once, only once. I went to Vancouver. That was it.
Yeah. I just realized I stopped in the middle of 2 different stories. So so yeah, it is actually minus 30 here today, Celsius. So that means we're literally 100 degrees different right now in the 2 temperatures that we're existing in. Even though I guess I got a fire behind me.
You're
And then,
minus 30 Celsius?
minus 30 Celsius right now, yep.
Wait, negative 30 Fahrenheit.
Negative 30 Celsius.
Okay, so what is that in Fahrenheit?
So the formula is Celsius is equal to Fahrenheit is equal to Celsius plus oh my god, why am I forgetting the formula? So it's Celsius plus 32 times 9/4. I'm fucking I can't
Where
remember.
are you? You're in Saskatoon right now?
Yeah.
Saskatoon weather.
Jesus, that was a pathetic explanation of Celsius.
Oh my god, it's 14 degrees
Yeah,
Fahrenheit.
you got to remember the wind chill on there too. Does your thing that you looked up have wind chill on there?
I'm taking a look. I'm just looking at Google. With wind.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh man, it's cold. It's cold. And yeah, we just had a blizzard yesterday, so.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is not.
Yeah.
It's
And then
high
and then the reason I was talking about my property was I've got a guy from Texas right now. He's doing his PhD in neuroscience, and he's staying in one of my houses, and he oh god, you know what? I actually got a story for you. Here you go. Fuck yeah, dude. This is why I love podcasts, because I would not have thought of this. Uh-oh. Did you lose my audio again?
No, I'm there. I'm good. I can hear you.
Okay. So I got a guy living in my house. He's doing a PhD in neuroscience. So when I met this guy, Doug, so yeah, I've got this guy living in my house. He's from Texas. And I took him because I usually take all the people that are at the U of S, the University of Saskatchewan. Because students are usually pretty fine, and so he comes in. I still have him here. I'm not gonna remove him or anything, but so he's been here for a few months, and I find out that he's been to jail.
Oh.
For a hate crime.
What?
Yep.
How did you find this out?
Dude, we were hanging out one night, because this Native American band came over and they started playing in my house, and I was like, what the fuck, that's too noisy, because it was a weekday. So I went up there and I was like, all right guys, one more song and then get out of here. And then so I started, I don't usually talk too much with my tenants, but yeah, I went up there, and all of a sudden he starts telling me about his past and that he's been to jail, and he's like, for a hate crime. And I did not, I was just glad it wasn't something violent, but it may be. And I find out that when he was like 20, he was at a pool, and him and his buddies beat up a Middle Eastern person, and was like, oh, we caught Saddam Hussein.
Good God!
And he had to go to jail for doing that.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? And right now I've got a lease with this guy.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So
that's fucked up.
I know.
I mean,
I know. I found that out, and I was like,
that's not great. That's bad.
I know. But the thing is he went to jail, and now he's out of jail. But it's like the first time I ever met somebody who had actually committed a hate crime.
That's no good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Do you know anybody who's been convicted of anything criminal?
Sure, not hate crimes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, nobody.
I didn't even know you'd go to jail. I didn't know you could go to jail for 6 months because of a hate crime. I thought if you were going to go to jail, it was like for a long time because of a hate crime.
It was assault, right?
I think that would be what it would be. But I don't
They
think.
beat
I
someone
think what he
up?
said to me, his little excuse, his little caveat was, I didn't do anything physical. I just did stuff verbal. So I got less.
Sounds like this guy's bad news. I guess that's
He's
part
like 40 now, though. I think it happened when he was 20. So
yeah, people change.
people
Maybe
change.
he's out of
That's kind of where I'm at with that. But
does he seem rehabilitated,
yes.
or does he
It was
still like?
completely- I had no idea. That's the craziest part. Is he's a 40-year-old, like he's got red hair. He's just totally soft as anybody.
The red hair,
Soft-spoken. Yeah.
the red hair threw you off. You're like, dude, this guy can't be a bigot. He's got red hair.
I saw the fact that he was a ginger, and I said there is a 0% chance that a ginger could be violent.
What about fucking Charlemagne? That guy fucking murked everybody.
Yeah, I was definitely wrong.
Think about it. I mean, redheads, the
Yeah, they have
Scott.
anger.
There's some fucked up redheads out
Yeah.
there.
Have you heard of Andrew Santino?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
funny. I like him a
Think
lot.
about what's happening to like Chris D'Elia and Brian Callen. Do you know those guys?
Not
Not know them, but like, have you heard their stories?
it's like they're on like they've been accused of the Me Too stuff.
Yeah, they got big podcasts, and Chris D'Elia, they're saying that that he is like, just because he talked with girls on the internet, he
Mhm.
lied about their age.
Mhm.
Chris D'Elia has been kind of canceled.
Mhm.
That's a big one because I've been called like the blonde Chris D'Elia.
Oh, I can see that. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I don't think I want to get into like the cancel culture debate conversation. I mean, I think it's I would need before I can make any.
Yeah.
I need to know more about those two stories. I don't know enough about them to be able to talk about it, so I don't really.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to farm you for some ideas. I've got a new kind of skit that I'm working on. I'm calling it the Sleep Talk. I'm using one of those Sleep Talk apps, and I'm recording myself while I sleep. But I'm gonna be putting in fake shit where I'll just say something stupid that I pretend I'm saying it because I think that if you pretend you're saying it while you're sleeping, can't you get away with saying whatever you want?
There's a real big, that's like a big part of Shakespeare's Othello. It's one of the things that drives, Iago tells Othello that he overheard another soldier talking about sleeping with his wife in his sleep. And because like the idea that the sleep talk is, the window into the unfettered unconscious. So in this case, you're going to belie the truth of sleep talking, make it up, make the robot listen to you fake talk in your sleep.
Yes, but then I've got some comedy bits like that I was gonna write in there and just put them in there, even though I wouldn't actually say them while I was sleeping.
Yeah. So I had a dream the other night where I blacked out and cheated on my wife, and then didn't know, but like I couldn't remember it. This is in the dream. I drank, I blacked out in the dream.
Yeah.
Cheated on my wife in the dream, and then woke up, couldn't remember it. But it was a nightmare. I felt terrible. It was just a devastating nightmare. So I woke up, poked my wife. I was like, oh man, like I had a nightmare. Hold me. Little spoon, held. She's like, well, nightmare. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. She's like, well, finally, she's like, well, what was it? What happened? I was like, oh man, I had this dream where I blacked out and cheated on you, and it's just terrible. She's like, what? She's like, with who? I was like, I don't know. That's the fucked up part about it. I didn't even get the good part of the sex dream. I only had the remorseful,
Yeah.
wondering what happened while I blacked out part. So
as
I
long as she didn't get mad at you and treat it like you actually cheated when it was just
no.
you being
My
cheated.
wife is shit. She's awesome. She would never do that. But
There you
the what's funny is that I got only, even in my subconscious, I only got the bad parts, none of the benefit.
Oh man, I've had some good sex dreams. I'm surprised. That's too bad that happened to you.
I know. Tell me about it, man. It's like, and I'm and having an IPA at it's 11:20 now.
Yeah. Hey, I was expecting this to only be like a couple of minutes.
Oh!
I was just gonna call you and like laugh about our names being the same. So I want to say that this has been great. I'll definitely go through this and kind of pull out all the good parts and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't want to keep you for too much. I'm just looking at my thing here. I don't want to keep you for too much longer. But let me see if I have anything good on here.
What's Saskatoon's claim to fame?
We're the city of bridges. Yeah.
City of Bridges?
Yep. So our population is only 250,000 approximately, and we have like 10 bridges. So
Okay.
yeah. But basically, our city's split in half by a big river that's way too big to build a city on. I don't know why they ever decided to. It's stupid that they ever built a city on the river right here. But we did, and we built a bunch of.
Why didn't you just build a city on one side of the river?
That's a good question. Because I guess people were like,
Not like the river flows different directions on either bank.
I guess because riverfront property is worth a lot, so people were like, let's go over there and make some money. I don't know.
The enterprising Saskatoonians? Is that what it is? Saskatoonian?
Saskatoonians, yeah, maybe. I'm not really sure. Yeah, Saskatoonians. Saskatchewanians. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of bridges. What's like the food? What's like the Saskatoonian cuisine? What are you guys known for? Like a beef Wellington or like?
Well, actually, we have Saskatoon berries. So I guess we have a berry.
You have a berry?
Yeah, it's basically kind of like a raspberry.
Where's it on the berry spectrum? Ras?
Yeah, it's like a raspberry. It's kind of mixed between a raspberry and a blueberry, and we call it the Saskatoon berry.
Huh.
And we make, that's probably our most local food.
Have you ever had a Marionberry?
No.
They're quite good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? Where's that from?
They got a lot of them up in Oregon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Saskatoon berry is kind of like, yeah, it tastes like a it looks like a blueberry, but it tastes a little bit more red. Yeah. All right. Hey, I was gonna ask you, where are you? This is stuff I should have asked at the very beginning, but whatever. I hope people like meandering interviews. Where were you born in America?
New York City, New York.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Can you tell me a story about New York?
Like
something maybe that's interesting happened growing up there, or something that people from Saskatoon would want to know about New York?
Oh shit. Let's think. Man, that's a hard one. I mean, so I lived in New York from the time I was like 0 years old to like 3.5, and then I lived just across the border in Connecticut, and then I went to like preschool up to first grade in a suburb of New York City. But I was born in Manhattan. Let me think. On the spot, it's hard for me to conjure up like any like notable or interesting story about New York City at that time.
Okay.
I don't know. I saw my first pair of boobs at Grand Central Station when I was like 3 years old. Because in Grand Central back in the 80s, it was like pretty sketchy, I guess. And well, I guess I know because I read, but like it was really sketchy. And so like I was in Grand Central Station, which is the big train station in New York City in central Manhattan, and I had to go to the bathroom, so my mom took me into the bathroom with her, and I saw a big pair of stranger's breast who was changing, and I can still see it. And that was 34 years ago.
My first pair of boobs that I ever saw, probably other than internet, was I'll say some street names, you won't know them, but I guess people here would know. I was coming down Idlewild, and then the Travelodge there. I looked up, so that's a hotel here. Do you guys have Travelodge?
Oh yeah.
So I looked up at the hotel, and on about the third floor there was two girls with their shirts up, and that was the first boobs I ever saw. I think
How old were you?
I think I was 9 years old.
I got you beat.
Sorry, what was that?
I got you beat.
Yeah.
We'll
Oh,
see
how
where you're at.
old were you?
3.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Wow.
So have you ever seen anybody get jumped or anything like that?
Like is LA sketchy and dangerous jumped or
Yeah,
like
or New
somewhere?
York. Like growing up in New York or LA, have you seen anything criminal that you'd be like, whoa?
Sure. All the time. Not all the time, but yeah. I mean, I've seen some interesting stuff. I mean, it's so interesting. Like Santa Monica, and especially even now, it's like you go back to this thing about people being soft or tame or anything. I mean, like I'd say it's generally a pretty nice place to be.
Did Mulaney go to the Comedy Store?
Let me think. I don't know. I'm sure he's done. I never saw him there. I saw John
Oh, yeah.
Mulaney in San Francisco a bunch of times when I was living up there. And that was awesome.
Yeah, I've been to the Comedy Store once actually.
You did?
I bought
You been in
everything.
LA?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So who's your favorite person to see there? And like, have you ever seen something happen there? Because I got a story for you about when I've only been to the Comedy Store once, and I've got a story for you. So
I don't have any good comedy stories, so you should tell me one of yours.
yeah, yeah. So I went to the Comedy Store. We were in. I was on a trip with my girlfriend, and we had went to Las Vegas, and that was boring.
Yeah.
Because when you go with your family, it can be.
Took a picture of it, though, put it on your Instagram, made it to the grid. I saw it.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah. How boring could it have been if you put the picture up?
Yeah, yeah. It was all right.
Okay.
Yeah, but
What happened in Las Vegas? Why was it just all right?
like I said, like her family was there, and so the one thing I don't like to talk about too much is family, so I don't want to get into that part of it. But
Out, cut it, done. Tell me about LA. What happened at the Comedy Store?
yeah, so went to LA, and then we went to Disneyland. That's why we were over there. And then we went to the Comedy Store, and I go there, and it was amazing. Fitzsimmons was up there, and so we get there. Oh, so I call them, and it said sold out on the internet. So I was like, oh, shit. Of course it's sold out because I'm calling them day of.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they do shows basically every day, or they used to. So I call them, and some lady answered. Her name was, I've told this story before on the podcast too, by the way, folks, so sorry. But so Sarah Lee answers, this random chick. And I'm like, hey, you guys got any tickets for tonight? She's like, hey, who are you calling about? Like, why do you want to be here? I was like, I heard Theo Vaughn's going to be there, Tom Segura, and I'm not from here, so I've wanted to come to Comedy Store. And she goes, oh, yeah, no problem. And she gives me a ticket for me and my girlfriend for free.
What?
I don't know if they do that all the time, but she said, just come to the front, and you're good. It's a 2-drink minimum, of course, but I ended up drinking like 19 drinks. But
Yeah.
So got into the Comedy Store for free. And and then Fitzsimmons is up there. I was there from 7 p.m. until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And
How many beers did you drink?
me personally, I guess I had 9.
9?
9 Coronas, yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. No, I'm not, by the way, it sounds a lot like I'm an alcoholic. I'm a jokingly alcoholic. I
Can you
joke
drink,
about
like,
it just like
what's Stephan like at like 7 Coronas? Like slurry?
fall asleep. No,
Fall asleep?
I don't get drunk. I drink after about 5 of them. I start getting sleepy, and then I fall asleep.
You just drunk, sleep. So were you asleep at the Comedy Store?
Yeah, I was asleep at the table.
No, you
No.
were, okay.
No. So I'm pumped to be there, and Greg Fitzsimmons is up there. I like him quite a bit, but I like everybody who's going to be there that night. I saw Whitney Cummings. I'm not going to go through the list. So anyway, Greg Fitzsimmons, there was these 2 stoner kids up at the front, and he starts talking to them. He's like, hey, what are you guys doing there? You guys stoners? Because they were going in and out, and I guess Greg doesn't like that because he's a seasoned vet of the Comedy Store, and so they were smoking weed, going in and out, and he starts chirping them and calling them stoners, and they just walked out, walked out right in the middle of the comedy show, and then I guess these are more of celebrity wow stories than they are actual funny stories, by the way, so I apologize.
Okay.
And then I went out to the parking lot, and Elijah Schslinger, you know her? She's the blonde chick.
Yes.
Yeah. I was in the audience, and I took off my sweater at one point just while I was watching, and she's like, hey, look at this hot guy. She starts calling me a hot guy
Yeah.
when I'm in the audience. And then, which was an amazing moment for me, hilarious.
Yeah.
Of course, I didn't say a word because I was terrified. But
Yeah.
then I went outside to.
You're drunk too. You can't. You don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
expose stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I went outside because I wanted to have the one joint that I brought, and I did that. And then I saw her in the parking lot, and she talked to me a little bit.
Nice.
So that was pretty awesome. I was just pumped to be there. What an amazing place. Like, I'm not surprised it's your favorite place because just walking around there is awesome. Like the halls, and I loved it.
LA is a cool. I mean, I love LA, man. Again, like I was kind of talking about this to begin with. It's like in San Francisco for the longest time, there's this like stigma about LA where they're like, oh, everybody in San Francisco, like there's like LA people are like super superficial and all this kind of stuff. But I also really love San Francisco, and people in LA kind of a thing about San Francisco. But I love San Francisco. It's one of the best cities in the entire world. I've spent, it has such a special place in my heart. I love the city. I used to be a journalist in the city. I was a teacher in the city. Like I'm very connected to that place, and it's. But what was really interesting to see is like I moved there. I lived there from like 2006 to 2016, or 2006 to 2018, and during that time it really changed in the whole tech boom and everything that everybody talked about. And what I found is that by the end of the time when I was looking at San Francisco, a lot of it had actually started to embody the negative stereotypes about Los Angeles, whereas in Los Angeles, as the city itself grew up a bit more and expanded and had these different things going on, LA it's in an interesting way, has like a lot of very down-to-earth people as well. Okay, and the other funny thing about LA is like the LA stereotype also constantly is validated. So like you'll literally see, I saw this once, I saw a guy in a pink Cadillac driving down Lincoln Boulevard with a Santa hat on, big white beard, talking on a cell phone. I saw it. It wasn't like a fucking set. It wasn't a thing. It was just a guy having himself a Wednesday.
Eccentric people.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
There's just so much.
The energy, hey? Yeah, we live two different lives because, like the people, my life up here is very low energy. Yeah. And, I can see how.
Where's this conversation on your energy spectrum? Like high, low, middle?
High. I would say above middle. Yeah, like just so you know. Yeah, like not to insult people from here, like, but people here are everybody just sits in their damn house, man. Nobody wants to get out and talk to people, discuss things, that kind of stuff. Very conservative here. So just so like somebody like you would be on the higher end of the spectrum here in terms of like opinions. You have opinions, you know how to defend them. We talked about Corona and we didn't get into a fight. Like that's like unique. People here, they hold their opinions very staunchly. Yeah. Very conservative. So. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what. Like, there's a lot going on here, and this is definitely the highlight of my day. So I mean, awesome. This is great.
Yeah. It's really it's all about meeting people. I'm really happy that we were able to do this.
Anytime you want to. If you ever want me to come back, just let me know. We can shoot the shit whenever.
For sure. Yeah, I was just going to get to that. Thanks, man. Yeah, I was just going to say that, thanks a lot for coming and doing this today, because you're a bigger deal than me just by virtue of where you live. So I want to say thanks for coming on, and thanks for promoting my name.
Yeah, you got it, bud. Yeah, hey, us. We got the.
We got to work together.
We have that central pH, and if there's one thing that's for sure, those STEV people, bunch of hosers.
Fuck those people. Yeah, we should make hats where it's like the A, the E versus the V. Like that.
I mean it's because
nobody
also
would get it. I guess nobody would get it unless your name is Stephan.
Stephan. And here's the thing: every single person who's ever met me, in school and everything, when they're reading my name first before they meet me, they always say Stephan.
Yes.
And that's why it's a big deal for me.
I get a lot of Stephen.
Because I'm always like, no, it's Stephen. No, it's Stephen. And you're like, fuck yeah, my name's Stephan.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we've both lived our whole lives like that. It's hilarious because I've had the same thing, but a lot of times people call me Steven. So, but yeah, hey, we got lots more to talk about on another one like this. We can talk more about our names too and get into that. But I just wanted to thank you for coming on, and I guess I'll see you again soon.
You betcha, Stephan. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Stay safe up there in Canada. I really enjoyed meeting you and talking to you.
Yeah, good luck with your comedy, man. Get out there and as soon as you feel safe to go out, get out there and do some shows. I know we should all start getting back to normal, hopefully.
Yeah, you bet, my man.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, and any questions or concerns for the show, as well as voice recordings and voice messages that you'd like us to listen to, or advertisement inquiries, please forward those along to canadiantalkwithstephan@gmail.com. Thanks. We also have a website, stephanjackson.ca, where you can find a back catalog of all our episodes, and we're also on YouTube, where you can find the video versions.
Canadian Talk.